MGTOW, hello Red Pill. This is Red Pill in the Wind. And this is another installment of Rolling Videos Season 2. I would like to thank Baron Yam, Billy the Goat, and Infamous Rifle for these topics. The Bleeding Edge that it came with is from the 13th. The link will be in the description. And maybe until I figure it out, will be pinned in the comment section. Topics are living pain, agriculture, tech readiness, social mugging. Living pain. Now, if you're alive, you either have two types of pain: physical or internalized pain. The physical pain can change you as an individual, because now that you've been in pain, you're going to do everything to avoid that physical pain. Human beings, and as well as animals, learn from pain. They learn from either physical pain or emotional pain. That's how we evolved to live, how human beings have a natural fear of certain creatures. It's through pain. Now, physical pain is different from emotional pain, but similar. Like when you go through a bad breakup, the emotional pain can manifest into a physical form, because emotional pain, it depends on the person, hurts certain spots of the body and can do damage to others. Most of the time, ED is just nothing more than emotional pain. Erectile dysfunction is nothing more than emotional pain. To where your body is hurting so much, your body is hurting emotionally so bad that you either A, can't get it up, or B, can't keep it up, or both. This is the study. This is my own study on myself over the course of time. Either A, can't get it up, or B, can't even keep it up, because you're so emotionally damaged from life that you're still hurt. You're in a lot of pain. That's a lot of things that you've got to deal with in life. And if it's not pertinent, or if you're not, human beings are, in a way, human beings are like pandas. Human beings are like pandas, in a sense. Because if you really look at it, human beings are like pandas in certain ways. Because pandas have the capability of eating meat, they just choose not to. Just like the vegans, many of the vegans, the ones who are vegan by choice, they pretty much nerf themselves like pandas. And that affects how they live. They're not able to get the nutrients by just eating bamboo. It's what it is. They're not able to get the full nutrients, or many of them don't understand the importance of having protein in their diet. And believe it or not, certain nuts, there's a process to make them edible. Like peanuts, you have to roast them. Coffee beans, you have to roast them. Almonds, you have to roast them. Otherwise, they're deadly, toxic. Almonds contain cyanide if they're not roasted properly. Peanuts contain something else to where if they're not roasted properly, they can kill you. That is why there's a peanut allergy. George Washington Carver basically expressed that if you do not roast the peanuts properly, they can be deadly. Anaphylactic shock's a son of a gun. Those are that's when you're subject to peanut allergies. It's when they're subject to peanut allergies. There are people that are allergic to peanuts or nuts. George Washington Carver was a genius. He basically said, look, if you roast these things properly, human beings can consume them. And basically said that soy beans are not fit for human consumption in any form. But yet, we don't want to let people continue to consume soy products. Which shows that people only follow the science when it's convenient. People only follow the science when it's convenient for them. Otherwise, we would be having things like soy latte. I'm just saying. Which segues into the next topic. Agriculture. What you do in the agriculture industry can, will, and has affected society and the populace. I'm going to say it again. What you do or with the agriculture industry can, will, and has affected society. Some examples. Crop rotation. Where you basically grow one crop 1 year in one field, and then you replace it, or every few years you replace it. with another crop to produce to keep nutrients in the soil. Keep nutrients into the soil. Fertilizer. Fertilizer. Putting nitrogen back into the soil, but at the correct amounts, to where you don't burn the roots of the crop. Runoff ponds, where you collect the fertilizer and the water mixture, so it does not go into the rivers or the waterways. Without being filtered. Water holding tanks. To where you're able to store the water. Pesticides, both natural and chemical. To where the natural pesticides would be basically using animals or naturally growing plants. Weeding and herbicide. The prevention of crop choking plants from taking a foothold. That is why there's plastic on the ground, or certain type of liners between the ground and the crop, to allow the seeds of plant choking or crop choking weeds from germination. I don't know much about agriculture, but I've had little gardens. I grew up around gardens in my neighborhood. To know at least a little bit. Now my grandmother passed the generation down of Victory Gardens, to where people were growing their food, pickling your food, canning your own food to last for the wintertime in World War II. Where you might be unable to get fresh vegetables and fruits. So those fruits and vegetables would last the entirety of the winter. Summer, to the spring, where weather was a little bit more temperamental. There's understanding about early peas and late peas. When you do the early peas, it takes longer to grow. When you do the late peas, it grows more rapidly, but has a different flavor and texture. Because why? One was able to take their time and grow The other one was rushed into it. You know, having the understanding of when to plant your peas to suit what type of texture and taste you want. Like difference between planting an apple tree in the summertime and planting an apple tree in the spring. Planted in the spring, yes, it takes. Yes, it does. It takes root. It's able to hold on to the roots better than being planted in the summertime, where the soil's drier. You have to water it more often. Whereas if you were to plant it in the spring, like late spring, not late spring, but early spring, late winter, or more along the lines of mid-spring would be best to plant a tree, a fruit-bearing tree, because it allows the roots to not only hold to get water, where you don't have to water it as often, or you don't have to water it as often. Next, tech readiness. We as human beings we're for the last 100 years, we're not ready for the tech advancements. And it's getting to the point where we need AI, artificial intelligence, to advance tech. And that is a double-edged sword for humanity. That is a double-edged sword. People are calling technology witchcraft now. Jiminy Pokey. We're repeating history. We're repeating history to where people like tech oligarchs and tech giants are now beginning to become seen as evil heretics. Guess what? And rightfully so. The Salem witch trials, I believe the Salem witch trials, there were witches that were actually helpful, but they got a bad rep by the ones that were negative. I believe the burning of the Salem witch trials were brought on by the negativity, the witches that were not helpful to people. You know? That were dangerous. But guess what? A lot of people died. A lot of probably pretty good people, pretty decent people. People that could have basically advanced the human medical system. You know? People that truly understood incantations. And the way I see technology, it's just another burning of the witches, because the negativity of the tech oligarchs, the big tech, has been malicious. So anybody with a computer science degree is now going to be seen as evil, or anything dealing with the tech is going to be now seen as evil. Evil people, evil manipulative people. Thanks to a lot, I'm gonna say the names, thanks to Zuckerberg and Bill Gates, we may end up in the dark ages again. You know? Thanks to people like Bill Gates and Zuckerberg, we may end up in the dark ages once more. I'm just saying. Social mugging. Now, as a man, we have a lower life expectancy. We're not expected to we don't live as long as women. Why don't we live as long as women? Because not only technology not only hasn't caught up to us, science has left men, technology has left men behind, has left men kind of behind. Science has left men behind. Society has left men behind. There are a lot of men that are being left behind because of social mugging. But yet they use men to advance society. Look at the Ukraine. Men 18 to 60 are required to fight. Stay back and fight. But yet women are not going to scream about the inequality because it doesn't suit their narrative. It does not suit their narrative. It does not benefit them. It does not benefit women to scream equality, especially in these times. So men get left behind socially. In these times, now everybody appreciates the military, the men and women, the men and women in military, in uniform. More likely, they appreciate the men in uniform because now they don't have to fight. They got it in social mugging. Men are all, like Yam said, men are always the recipients of social mugging, whether it be through work and taxes or civic service in war. Social mugging, taxes and work, civic service, civic duty in war. And now is the third one, paternally, through the court systems, paternal court. That is another social mugging. To where they deny men access to their children, men who have not committed atrocities, they're denied access to their children. All for the sake of the children, of the women and children. Men are never going to be exempt from social mugging. No matter how hard they want, and no matter how hard they try, we will never be exempt from social mugging. We just have to learn to adapt to it, because the alphabet soup community is not going to stand up for it. It's not going to stand against it. They're going to use men. They're going to use men. They're going to use men and children to further their goals and agendas. And after the bloodshed has been spilled, men go right back on the shelf. Right back on the shelf. red pill and MGTOWs in war, they're going to have all the red pill and MGTOWs manage to survive. It's going to be one big problem. Because a lot of these men are going to be like, I didn't see you on the battlefield. Why didn't I see you on the battlefield? Why didn't I see you in garrison? Why didn't I see you at the FOB? On the FOB. Why didn't I see you behind the wire? Why didn't I see you in the support equipment, in the support? Why didn't I see you in the rear with the gear? Why didn't I see the rear detachment, HQ, HHC? Why didn't I see you this? No, you are not worth my time. I didn't see you in any of these theaters. I didn't see any of you in any of these theaters. You got nobody to vouch for you. You're not worth my time. I didn't see you with any type of rank structure in my life, and there's nobody to vouch for you. You're not worth my time. You didn't have any brass on you. You didn't have any black and any enlisted insignia on you. You're not worth my time and energy. I do not want anything to deal with you. And those will be the women who get the best choice of men, of the surviving men. And that is that's another reason why everything that feminism is going to do in times of war is going to backfire. If there's any red pill or MGTOW left alive. It's one of the reasons why men retreat into video games and anime. Or role-playing games like Dungeons and Dragons, because the women in those games are supportive. I know I can't hold on to a sword, but I will support my man with a bow and arrow, with some bows and arrows. Supply me with bows and arrows. I will do my best to support my man on the battlefield. That is why men retreat into video games and anime and role-playing games, because the women in those scenarios are supportive. We're not looking for a hero. We're not looking for anything. We're not looking for a hero. We're not looking for a savior. We're looking for a supportive person who will basically do as much for them as they will do for them. We're looking for a mutual support, not a savior. We want somebody that knows that we know got our back, and that is the problem. That is the problem that is being misconstrued as low testosterone in men. That is a problem being misconstrued as failure to launch. We want to know that somebody's got our back before we react, before we do anything. We want to know that somebody has our back. And we want to know that our children are safe with our grandparents, with their grandparents. We want to know that our children are safe and the culture is going to continue on with the education of our elders. Our name will not be tarnished by our elders, by the mother of our children, if they survive the battlefield. We want to know that our names are not going to get tarnished. And we won't, and we will do the same. We will not tarnish the names of our spouses. But then again, what do I know? Like I said, like, what do I know? Like, not tarnish, like, where our names are used to, are being, our names and our likeness is being tarnished, has been tarnished for generations. I would not tarnish my father's name or my mother's name in my for my children. And in the coming times, I will raise warriors. If I do have children, that is a big if. I would raise a warrior rather than a victim. Male, female, boy, girl will be raised as a warrior, not a victim. They will be raised to fight, either with intellect, intellectually, physically, and mentally. I mean, intellectually, verbally, and physically. If they can't fight physical, they will be learned on fighting verbally and mentally. If they can't fight verbally, mentally, they will be learning on fighting physically. And they will know to support each other, because one party is not able to use one thing. Like, my sister's computer is a very computer literate person. I'm not. I'm mechanically inclined. To put gears and pistons in my hands and a motor, I'm literally, that is my domain. That is my domain. But, beside the point, I will not raise a victim. I will raise a warrior. I will raise warriors rather than a victim. Because what we need now is not victims, it's warriors. This is Red Pill in the Wind. If you're MGTOW or Red Pill and you just so happen to think that you're fine, and if you basically have a say in how you raise your children, have a say in how you raise your children. I'm just saying, this is Red Pill in the Wind.